Welcome to the City Commission meeting, Tuesday, March 18th. Would you please call the order?
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Here.
Commissioner Motta,
Here.
Commissioner Minton,
Here.
Commissioner Opelt. Mayor, we have 4 commissioners present. The quorum of 3 is met.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We just have one public comment. Would you join us, Heather?
Do I need to say like my name and address first? Okay, I'm Dr. Heather Bliss. My address is 715 South 9th Street here in Manhattan. Cool. I prepared a statement today because I didn't know how much time I was going to have, but now I would love to take up an entire 30 minutes of that. Can I do that?
3 minutes.
All right, I'll try. I'm here today to speak to you about the fentanyl epidemic in our community that we are not prepared for and we have not been prepared for. Fentanyl has taken many lives in Manhattan already. One K.S.A student, Maxwell Donadue, who was found dead in his apartment from fentanyl-laced drugs in 2017. He was 18 years old. Richard McCauley, who was 39 at the time of his death in 2023. His parents are actually here with me today. Richard suffered a work injury, became addicted to prescription medication, then he turned to the streets to fulfill that addiction. He was found dead in his room by his mother. Ivan T.J. Holmes was 18 years old at the time of his death in 2023. He had just gotten his first apartment. The first night, he went out to celebrate with his friends, took a pill that was laced with fentanyl, and died. Again, 18 years old. Between January 2023 and June 2023, there were 8 deaths related to fentanyl poisoning in Manhattan alone. Over 50 people were arrested in a drug ring that contained fentanyl for those people who died. There were an average of 10 overdose emergency department visits in Riley County each month, according to the Kansas Department of Health Environment, based on data from 2022, which is unfortunately the most recent data that I have available to me. I personally have placed 2 stations, 24/7 low barrier, low access stations for naloxone and fentanyl test strips in Manhattan. I stock these stations weekly, every single Friday, every afternoon, every Friday. I stock these stations. I know how much naloxone has been put out into this town. I have provided over 600 boxes, and as of today, that's 635 because I did extra stock my station. So I've given out 600 boxes of naloxone, over 2,000 fentanyl test strips in Manhattan. This is just between December 23rd, 2023, and today. Roughly 24 boxes leave that station every single week, and roughly 50 test strips are picked up from these stations again every single week. Our community is concerned, clearly, because people are accessing these stations and using them. The Riley County Health Department has received a $200,000 grant in 2023 to provide education and naloxone to our community. However, that has not happened. They hired 2 people. They speak at a few high schools with a general overview of kids just don't do drugs. If you don't want to die, don't use drugs. Obviously, that's worked. You can see the parents sitting here today grieving their child. Young adults are going to experiment with drugs. People will become addicted to their prescription medications. This does not just affect people who are drug addicts. And how can we even tell people not to use drugs when doctors and pharmacies are providing these exact same drugs to them? It is 2025, and we need to be delivering the message that is different from the 1980s just saying drugs are bad, okay. K-State does not provide students with access to naloxone. They shun not only naloxone, but the fentanyl test strips, which could prevent a student from needing naloxone in the first place. They consider offering these life-saving tools to be a liability. The University of Kansas found out the hard way when a woman in a sorority overdosed in her sorority house. Since that day, KU has put in naloxone stations, and they offer fentanyl test strips and education.
Heather, we have to pause you, sorry. You bring a very important message. Thank you very much for bringing this to attention. I do think you probably should get together with Commissioner Motta and have the police, at the next law board meeting.
They do not carry naloxone, neither does the fire department.
Well, we need to kind of talk about that.
Yeah. No, I encourage you to come and bring it up, and that is a good place to discuss it. We've had many discussions on fentanyl, and I can't remember the name. There's like a new drug, even, I
Xylazine.
believe it even deadlier.
Xylazine,
Yeah.
I have test strips for xylazine available as well. for stations.
That's, coming out now as well. And I know they were having, and I don't know if they had your test strips, but they had material during Fake Patty's Day.
That was us.
Yeah, thank you. That was out there that I saw being provided. But I do encourage you to come to the law board, because the more we can do on this, and there's a lot of groups, I know the construction industry, while they concentrate on the suicide, that's still fentanyl's part of that gets involved in with the pain medication, because obviously in that industry, a lot of people end up with chronic pain and other things, and that can be a lead-in to using a lot of these types of drugs. So again, thank you very much, and I encourage you to come to the law board meeting.
When are the
And if
law
you
board
contact me ahead of time and say when you come, I can get it so you can be on the actual agenda, which can give you more than the few minutes' time to actually
Third
speak.
Monday, right?
Yeah, it's the third Monday.
Yeah.
Unless it's a
Okay.
holiday, then it's Tuesday.
At what time, John?
Yeah,
Noon
yeah,
here.
here, third Monday.
I have class.
And also, have you presented this to the county commission, who of course is in charge of the health department?
Their meetings are while I teach class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
This is the only meeting I've been able to attend because it's spring break for me. But I have tried. I have been invited by Riley County PD, but as soon as they're behind closed doors, they no longer respond to my emails. I have been invited to do talks for the Riley County Health Department, and as soon as they are behind doors, they no longer respond to my emails.
Okay.
So when someone's watching, they're very interested. But otherwise, there's no return phone calls, there's no return emails.
Maybe we can put it on the city-county agenda next
I would very
month.
much appreciate, that's what I'm here today, is to ask you to do
Yeah, 'cause
something
that's
so I
4 in
can
the
get where I
That's
afternoon
need.
4
on
in
a
the
Thursday.
afternoon. Does that work for you more?
Do what?
The city-county meets at 4 in the afternoon, the third Thursday.
I would be out of town
Okay.
on those days. I can figure it out. I can cancel class if I have to. This is important. I'm here because I need you to help me get in front of the people I need to be in front of, because they're not listening to me, and they will listen to you.
Well,
That's
maybe.
it. They'll be more likely to respond to your email than to mine.
I thank you for what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Okay, commissioner comments. Jamie, John?
I'd just like to commend the police department and all their hard work during Fake Patty's Day. This is the second year in a row in Fake Patty's Day that I didn't get an email, didn't get a phone call, and didn't have anyone at a commission meeting or a law board meeting, which was good. I did spend a lot of the day there. I was there at 8 in the morning. I had lunch. I walked the neighborhoods in the afternoon, and I was there from 11 till 3:30 in the morning, which it sounds later than it was, because that's when we moved our clocks forward to spring forward. And yes, I saw some arrests. Yes, I saw some fights and some people get out of hand, but it was much more controlled. The neighborhoods seemed a lot better. We didn't get the big, huge crowds in one place, and that was by the police department trying to really disperse people. Also, people had put on their property, no trespassing and keep out, which helped the police department know that people weren't supposed to be there. And I have to say, while there were people that got out of hand, there were a lot of respectful students and kids that were there. There was a basketball game. You could see them helping people out and give directions. I came up at a stoplight behind a group that had kind of salty language and were kind of happy, but when they got a glimpse of me, they immediately cleaned the language up and apologized. Not that they just knew I was old, was pretty much it. So there are a lot of people that go down there for a good time who don't even drink at all, that you'll find there. And I do know that also it's Jimmy John's biggest sale day on that day. So, anyway, just want to say thanks to the police department for doing a good job on that.
Susan, do you have no comments? I just point out other health issues, as we do have measles in Kansas now. And 2 cats in Potawatomi County tested positive for the bird flu. Unless you think, oh, well, it's just the flu, nothing will happen to me. That flu does cause blindness at its worst expanse. So, okay, the consent agenda. These items are routine housekeeping nature, and they've been previously reviewed by the City Commission and may be approved in one motion. I'd just like to take the last one off, H, the reappointment the appointment of Jamie for the Housing Authority, as John is going to stay on that. So we will just take that off and make a motion to that effect at the end. So do I hear any public comment on the consent agenda? Do I hear a motion for everything but HC?
I move we approve the consent agenda minus HC.
Second.
Brenda, you want to call the roll?
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Minton,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And then I would just like to move to reappoint Commissioner Mata to the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Brenda, you want to call the roll on that one?
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Minton,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough,
Yes?
Commissioner Adamczyk.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, the next thing on our general agenda is to consider request to annex 5111 Murray Road. Well, Stephanie, presentation.
Good evening, Commissioners. Stephanie Peterson, Director of Community Development. The item before you this evening is a resolution of intent to annex 5111 Murray Road. This is a consent island annexation. The map here shows the general location of the subject tract. The dotted blue line, that shows our urban service area boundary, the area in which the city can provide or reasonably provide city services and infrastructure. And then the red outline is our city limits. So even though you'll see in a further slide, even though this property is adjacent to city limits because it touches the airport, it's considered island because it is not contiguous with kind of the core part of the community. The current zoning is through Riley County. It is zoned single family. Actually, all of the zoning, the colors that you see here for zoning, those are all through the county, with the exception of the Manhattan Regional Airport, which is this gray area here. You will see though, so even though the subject site currently is zoned single family, everything to the west and to the east are zoned either industrial or commercial. The future land use map, this is incorporated into the Manhattan Urban Area Comprehensive Plan. That document is approved by both the City Commission as well as the County Commission. And so the future land use map identifies how we envision kind of properties evolving over time. Here's the subject tract shown in this yellow rectangle, and you'll see that that area is designated as commercial and industrial in the future, which is consistent with what you typically see around airports. I will note that the applicant for island annexation, we typically have to stay the intended use of that property. You will have rezoning before you at a later time if you decide to move forward with the annexation. The proposed use is there's an existing shed on the property, and the applicant would like to use that to store some of their commercial material. They own a carpet cleansing business, and they have a pickup and a couple of other pieces of equipment that they want to store within that shed. That would not be a permitted use if it were to stay single family, which is why they're seeking annexation. And potentially in the future, if they ever wanted to add an office to that, they would seek to have city water and sewer. Here's just a quick timeline of how this process would work for an island annexation. This evening you have that resolution of intent to annex. If you were to approve that, it would go to the Board of County Commissioners. They have to make specific findings per state statute, and they have 30 days in which to do that. So the date reflected here, that April 17th, that's kind of the last date that they would be able to take action. And then there is a 30-day appeal period for any aggrieved party. We're gonna wait to bring the ordinance back before you until that 30-day period is passed. So maybe potentially the soonest date that could come back before the commission would be May 20th for the reading of that ordinance. After the annexation is adopted by ordinance, then we would look to go to the planning board for a public hearing on the rezoning, and then that would come back before you. So this is a rather lengthy process, but just wanted to kind of let you know what the steps that are ahead of you. With that, I would open it to any questions you may have.
Before we
of
do
me.
questions, we have to talk about the ex parte communication. Prior to proceeding with this item, each member of the governing body who has engaged in ex parte communication with any individual either in favor of or against this matter being considered must state that the communication occurred and indicate that even in light of having engaged in the communication, you are able to fairly, objectively, and impartially consider the measure based on only upon the evidence provided on the record. Does anyone want to?
I had an email exchange with Stephanie, just asking for additional information about the public meeting. It was not indicated in the materials in our packet where the public meeting was held, how many people attended, how many people were notified. There was also a discrepancy in the dates where it was reported that the public meeting was held in January 2024, but the documentation was signed in January 2025. Stephanie was going to provided some additional information about how many people were contacted about that meeting, how many people attended, how many properties. The date discrepancy was not resolved. I don't know if you found out anything more about that. I do not believe that either of those pieces of information would affect my consideration of this.
No communication.
Okay. All right. Is there any comments from the public on this? Now, are there any questions by the commission following the public comments, of which we had none? The commission we have an opportunity to ask city staff for more clarification or offer comments on this item. Does anyone have a question for? Okay. The applicant is not with us. All right. So I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve resolution number 031825B, finding that annexing an approximately 0.98 acre tract of land located at 5111 Murray Road, pursuant to K.S.A. 12-520C is advisable, and requesting that the Board of County Commissioners of Riley County find and determine that the proposed annexation will not hinder or prevent the proper growth and development of that area or that of any other incorporated city located within the county.
Second.
Brenda, it's been moved and seconded. Would you call a roll, please?
Commissioner Minton,
Yes.
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Brenda, would you call a roll?
Mayor McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Adamczyk,
Yes.
Commissioner Motta,
Yes.
Commissioner Minton.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.